Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to EEG, the life of an amateur. It's been a while. We took last week off due to complications with guests and so forth. But we're back this week, and we're back with the granddad of eSports.
Well, you got to be like that.
You done my hair, bro. I got to be like that.
I'm sitting here waiting, and then like all I can hear, you're like, oh, I've got to sort my hair out, mate. I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I just like to say to everyone that's been waiting, it wasn't me. I was here incredibly early and on time, as I always am.
Oh, yeah.
I do apologise.
There's no complications at all. But to be honest, the complications was to do with Discord. We are using Skype for some reason. As everybody knows in the scene now, my Discord it's broken. You can't fix it. It's completely dead. Like, it's so broken. No admins can fix it. I can't fix it. No technical wizard can fix it. So we resort to Skype. But nevertheless, before we get into this podcast, I will talk to you guys about what the life of an amateur is all about. So the life of an amateur, it's about learning the lives of amateurs, whether that's an org owner, caster, a show host, whoever it could possibly be in gaming. So today, it's obviously we're going to be learning about Boarddog Newt's life, his org, what he does, what he's done, just all the good stuff. But to start things off, let's go back in how long ago? What was your life like before all this?
Mate, it was easy. Like, I didn't have nowhere near as much grey hair. Like, I could just do what I wanted when I wanted. I didn't have to be careful about what I said on Twitter. Like, it was good. It was good, mate, to be honest.
Now you struggle, yeah?
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, it's not a struggle. And to be fair, for the last, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, Will Gleedy does a lot of the work, and now Mike does as well. Part of when Will come, it was, I'm not necessarily trying to make a career out of this. I do it because I enjoy it. Like, obviously, I'm in the army, and that's my job. You know what I mean? And I enjoy doing that. So I've never been one of these people that have done this with an intention of sort of jumping ship and doing this full time. I'd have to earn way more than I'm worth to do this full time to make up for what I get.
Yeah.
So when Will come on, he actually wants to make a career out of this. So the idea was I almost let him do the majority of the day-to-day stuff, with me just giving advice here and there, so he can learn different skills in that. So hopefully one day he can use them to advance forward. It's not just sort of players that I want to help develop, it's other people in the org, you know what I mean? As long as they've got the passion and want to put the effort in, I'll give them as much time as I can. So nowadays, I'll be honest, I don't do as much org-related stuff. Will does a lot of it, but it's for that reason. If he was to ever get a full-time thing, I'd do more. Mike does a lot now as well. But yeah, at the start, there was times when, like, I probably wouldn't speak to my wife for like a week. Like, I'm not even joking. I'd come in from work and I'd be straight on the computer.
A week?
Mate, I've got this thing, right? So with teams, like whatever. So generally, what happens in Boarddog is if you come as a team, you'll get designated someone to sort of be the person that works with you. So I used to work with the COD teams, and when they were playing, like, if I'm asking them to scrim all the time, I'll sit there and be there in the calls with them. I often won't say a lot of stuff, maybe sometimes calm down arguments and things like that, and give a different perspective on things. But I've always been a believer, if you're going to put that work in for me, I'll put it in for you. So I'd come in from work, sit down, do some little bits I had to do, then I'd be in a call with a team for like the rest of the night, you know what I mean? So I'd say a couple of words to her, but like, there was times when she was close to like killing me, like, I'm not gonna lie. So it's nice how it is now. I've got more time to spend with Reggie and stuff like that, which is obviously a major thing in my life now.
Yeah, that's your son.
Yeah, mate. My little boy is my best mate.
Oh, I love that, man. That's good. So you mentioned you said actually in the army then?
Yeah, mate. I'm still in the army.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I've been in 13 years now, and I'm a sergeant. So what I basically do is, I joined when I was 26, 27, which was like the cut-off age back then. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just wanted to get out of the trouble that I was getting in, where I lived in East London. And I thought this is a way of sort of not leaving my friends, but breaking away from that friendship circle.
Yeah.
And it was totally different to how I was living. None of my mates thought I was going to make it through basic training. Like, they had a book in the pub, where they was having bets on when I got sent home. Like they thought I was going to hit the first person that shouted at me and stuff like that. But I think it was what I needed, and I ended up passing basic training as the best recruit and recruit, so the one that the recruits vote for. And then I joined the Air Corps. I done signals at first. So, mate, when I first joined, right, so I'd done about a year's worth of training to do my job. And then I got to the regiment, and within about 3 weeks, I got sent to America for 4 months.
Jesus.
Because they needed someone that was over 26 to drive minibuses and that. So I went out there as a minibus driver, mate, and I was doing day on, day off. And the days when I weren't driving, mate, I was just on the lash. And at the time, it was $2 to a pound. And I was signing checks for my wages as well as spending them, because the checks don't get cashed till you get paid. Like I literally thought the army is the best thing in the world, mate. I was like, is this really what it's like? This is amazing. Come back, I'd done a few tours, and then I went so in the Air Corps, I was always working with the Apache attack helicopters. Like, so you have different things. You have regiments that work with the Lynx, it's now Wildcat, and you've got other stuff, Northern Ireland and all that Belize. But I always worked with the Apache, and part of the process for it is there's like a computer where you plan the missions on it, like in massive detail. Like you can put things on there so they can scan with the Apache's radar, and you can find where enemies can't see you, and you can make little like snorkeling routes in and stuff like that. And that sort of took me interest. So I went and I sort of specialised in that after that, and now I am at Middle Wallop, which is the School of Army Aviation, where we teach all our pilots, and I run the ops room where we teach the Apache pilots to fly. Awesome. So I've just digitalised it. I've also done the first digital ops room in like the Army Air Corps. So all that stuff's touchscreen TVs. We've got like a massive movement map. It's like an 83-inch screen where they can see stuff and all that. Like, and that's been my little sort of baby while I'm there. And I'm also starting the eSports thing as well, aren't I? So I've had an agreement with them that we're going to do it. We've had funding agreed. Overclockers are going to come in. They're kitting out one of our rooms. We're going to have 10 PCs set up. We're going to have 10 PS4s set up. All the gaming chairs and everything, all proper headsets. It's all going to be done. We're going to have 2 VR stations as well, just for a bit of a giggle. But yeah, it should be good. Should be good.
When was it you found, like, you decided to go into the route of Boarddog and stuff then? How did that take your interest?
So I used to play Call of Duty with my mate Yam Yam, Chris, like he's from Wolves. But he's like a proper little ragehead, like he's out of the army now. And I went away on tour, and we used to play with some guys. Funny enough, one of them turned out to be Johnny that runs the eSports hub. But this was before we done that and before I done Boarddog. Yeah. And Yam literally fell out with everyone that we used to play for. It was called Legendary Lions. It was like a clan when they had Grand War and all that still.
Yeah.
And when I come back, we had no one. Well, I could still play with them, but they said my mate couldn't play. So I didn't want none of that. So we went to join another like clan. I can't remember. It weren't Relentless, but it was something like that. And we played on the first day, and the guy was a copper who run it, and they were just like proper fucking, like, you know when you don't enjoy something. So it was literally one day, and I messaged him the next day. I said, look mate, thanks for making us feel welcome. It's not for us sort of thing. We're going to look somewhere else. And he messaged me like this proper, I should have kept him. It'd been funny as fuck for people to read. Like on PlayStation, I was getting these messages like, you just came here to see what we do. You can't recreate what we do. Like proper abuse. Like, I'd only played one day, mate. Like, and I'm not even any good, you know what I mean? I don't know why he wanted to keep me. And he just kept giving me shit, mate. Like, to the point I was literally like, look mate, if you want, I'll meet you. Like, let's fucking sort this out. You know what I mean? Like, he was doing that. And instead, I sort of calmed down, and I looked into it, and I see he had a team that was going to UMG Orlando, I think it was, our first event. So I basically made a Twitter, got a logo in that, and I sent a team, and our team outplaced his. Like, he didn't know it was me, and I didn't even message him back to prove a point. I just wanted to prove a point to myself that I could quite easily recreate what he'd done. And then we just got people messaging us to sort of be part of it. And there was a guy called Jamie, who's a builder, who I played with. He wanted to be part of it as well. So me and Jamie started it. And then Kieran, you know, like War Kieran and that, when he was a young kid, he came to me with a team, and it was Gunfu and all them. And
Good old Gunfu.
yeah, mate. And so we sent them to their first event, which was the first Amateur Pro. And I turned up to there, and they was like, it was him, Carl, and that, and James, and they were like 15 and 16 at the time. And just seeing the look on their face and how much they enjoyed it and that, I just enjoyed being able to help someone do that.
Yeah.
And then it just carried on from there. Like, because we enjoyed their company, we said, right, we'll send you to the next. I think they finished top 16 or something. And we was like, right, we'll give you a bit more funding. You've done well, better than we thought. Let's send you to another event. We got to the other event, got to talking to more people and everything like that. And it just sort of snowballed from there. We picked up, a girls' team. So there was a girl called Lou, and we picked her up and some more. And she got talking to Stace. Stace joined us. Through Stace, we ended up with Pato. And then I'm sure everyone sort of knows it from that point onwards.
Yeah. That's mad. So that's then originally where it all sort of stemmed from, of course.
Yeah.
While doing the army, starting that.
Yeah. Well, the thing with being in the army is organising stuff is easy for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's just something I've been taught. So doing all this, like, it isn't that hard. You just got to know when to do it and put a bit of effort. So being organising that isn't something that I struggle with. So that's always been all right. And I think at the time, I mean, not even at the time, even now, you get a lot of orgs that let people down and stuff like that. And we've never done that, and that's not what we're about. So people start trusting you. And being at the events, because I like a drink, and I'd sit there, I know, mate, and I'd sit there getting drunk with everyone. So you get to know people, and people learn that you're all right and understand that you know what you're talking about. It's something that I think we miss a little bit now. Like, a lot of people can get away with sort of fronting because there is no face-to-face interaction anymore. You ask someone a question, they've got ages to think about what it is. You don't get to see what the real person's like behind the accounts. Whereas when you're at an event, everyone's had a couple of drinks, people's true personalities come out, and you can find out how much they really do know, what their plans really are, and there's not that filter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just get the real person, and we miss that now, which is a shame.
Agreed. So originally, what you're telling me is Boarddog started just to prove a point to this guy.
Yeah, mate. That was it. Like, literally, 5 years later, coming up to 6 years later.
Jesus Christ. Now, of course, the last time we spoke obviously on a different podcast. However, coming back to now when we last spoke, so I'll give a little background for the viewers. Obviously, everybody knows the change that Boarddog have had. I'm pretty sure if you haven't, you've been under a rock because it was a huge announcement. For you, though, how's that all going now?
It's going a little slower than I thought. If I'm honest.
Yeah.
It was, but that's the coronavirus. I don't want to blame this. Hasn't helped.
Oh,
so,
no, 100%. I mean, we've seen all closures for the last 2 weeks now because of it.
Yeah, it's not even. So we've had jerseys designed for ages, and we don't want to just put out pictures. We wanted to do photos because we said we wanted to do things better.
Yeah.
So we've got a photographer waiting to take these photos for us and everything, but because of the situation, the distributors is taking longer. I think they might be in the country now, but it's taken ages for these jerseys to come through. We've got hoodies and that waiting to have photos taken, so that took a little bit longer. Then, Jesus, you went half-aged in these times. Cheers, mate. So that was that. Then, with one of the people that run it, they had a couple of issues, and I'm not going to say what they were, but they needed a bit of time. So it sort of slowed stuff down, but we could have tried to keep along the same sort of timescale, but it would have meant rushing things and maybe not doing them as well as we wanted to do them. So we sort of decided to, especially because of what's going on, there's not much you can do anyway. So we sort of slowed down the process a little bit, but the person who had a couple of issues outside of gaming, he's sorted them all out now. Our stuff should be in the country. So hopefully once this is done, we can kick on again. We've got, I almost said stuff I'm not meant to say. So we've got a couple of teams. We've got a couple of teams to announce as well that we're going to be picking up. But because of everything, the way everything's done, we've had a bit longer to sort of cultivate it. So we should be hopefully happier with them. We still had the League of Legends team, obviously, who finished third in the league. So that's sort of kept me busy and kept things going. But the other stuff we wanted to do has sort of took a little bit of a back burner, just because of what you think. Even we've got some equipment going to one of our streamers in America, and even that's taking ages to get. And part of what we want to do is we need that person to have the equipment, and that hasn't reached them yet. So we've just had logistical issues, which has meant that we've had to slack down. But like I said, I'd rather we took our time to do it than rush it and not actually improve.
Agreed. I just want to read this out 'cause it's just a positive message, and positivity in these times is what I love to see. So, this man generally started my casting career. It's safe to say got me into the CWL. Love, Big Tony from Caster Campbell.
I love you too, bruv.
Love you too. And of course, guys, as well as going through this chat, you can ask questions for Tony. We'll be taking them as we go along, but obviously keep them somewhat relevant. If you want to know anything about his life that he's happy to talk about, or anything he's done basically that he's happy to talk about, just feel free to put them in. As I said, as long as it's relevant and PG, we'll be taking them. But yeah, I've seen the other night though. You actually had a long running on the League of Legends, didn't you? Your boys did.
Yeah, mate, they've done all right. When we lost, we got beat fair and square. But when they got beat, they played 3 games already.
Yeah.
And like, you play League, don't you?
Yeah. I just
so you know what it's like.
Just before coming on this.
So can you imagine, right, having to fucking sweat it for 3 games that were like, I don't know, God knows how long.
Yeah.
And then play another 2 against a better side than what you just played. Like that's they'd already had warm-up games. So they was in like 6, like probably, no lie, like 4 hours deep worth of League of Legends and then after picking it up for another 2. So they've probably done like 6 hours League at the end of it. And plus, I mean, we could have been more adaptable, but the other team gets to see exactly what you've been practicing that week. So all their picks and bans were literally based on the 3 games before. And we ended up getting... the other team played better. Like they deserved to win. I think it might have been closer and a better game if we hadn't have had that situation. But they're really good lads. 5 mates, basically. And that's how I like my teams. So it's been like fun. Our Discord's hilarious. We had an Italian manager and an Italian coach, and they're both mental, mate. Like proper funny, proper funny. And yeah, it's been a nice experience. Like it's been good.
That's good, man. One question from the chat. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, so I'm just going to skip the name. Apologies for that. What do you think is the most difficult situation you've been in that you had to solve as an esports organisation owner? Can you disclose something about that?
Right. So personally, the issue that I was thinking about this the other day. The issue that was most difficult for me was when it was probably only 8 months we'd been going, and I had a kid message me. He didn't play for us. It just messaged me. I'd been talking to him for a little while, trying to help him get a team.
Yeah.
And he told me that he was getting bullied at school, and he hadn't told his parents, and he didn't know what to do. And like, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Like, at all. You know what I mean? I've got a kid that, because I'm older, I guess, is trusted to tell me something that he hasn't told anyone else.
Yeah.
And I've now got to try to... I just want to tell him to pick up a bat and hit the kid, you know what I mean? But I can't because he's not my kid. If Reggie come on, he might be down at school, I'll just be like, here, mate, take that bat and smash him with it. But I had to be grown up, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, why do you not feel you can't talk to your parents about it? Why do you feel you can talk to me? And it was just a case of he found it easier to write it out, you know what I mean, than actually do a face-to-face thing. So I spent about 4 days, mate, talking to this kid, trying to get him confident enough to be able to go and tell his parents about it. And that was like mental, mate. That was definitely the hardest thing that I've had to do because that actually mattered.
Yeah.
A lot of the time with esports, you have to remember it's a game. Like, and as long as you're not letting people down and you're not delivering what you promised to teams, the rest of it at the end of the day it should be a bit of fun.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun doing it, you shouldn't be doing it.
Agreed.
I don't get caught up in placements and stuff like that. As long as my teams practice and they try, like where they finish, they finish. You know what I mean? So I don't really get stressed with that. Same as when we have to talk to companies and that about working with them. I've done it a few times, and I know 99% of the time you're gonna say what you think are the right things. They're gonna act really responsive, and in the end, they're not gonna get back to you anyway. So I don't sort of get caught up with that. But yeah, the most difficult thing was speaking to that lad. There's been a couple of other things like that, but it's always personal issues that won't like affect me the most. And it's really strange. Like, it's normally people outside of Boarddog as well that message me, and I don't mind. Like, if I can help people, I'll help them. But I must just come across as approachable. And And stuff like that is what matters, because that's real life, you know what I mean? This is just a
Yeah.
game at the end of the day.
I mean, that's what a lot of people seem to forget when arguing or whatever on the timeline on Twitter. Like, there is a life outside of this that people have. It's not just all
Yeah.
coming on to tweet about a PP or a game or whatever game you're involved in. I think a big thing of it is outside life as well. So I'm actually glad you shared that story. So hopefully someone just clip that and go share that to the timeline and actually make people realise that this is life. It's not just, you don't get on just for like arguments or whatever. A question in a question, sort of. So to answer your question, Space, what was the Boarddog big change? Sort of fits in with Campbell's question. Ask him how his developing people had generally started my career. So obviously the whole change with Boarddog is more about now. You sort of focusing more on.
Yeah, so what it wasn't so bad before Reg come along, because I had more time and stuff like that, and we had more people here. But we was almost always worried about the quality of the team. So if people approached us, it was more concerned about, are you going to embarrass us with your performances and stuff like that. And we sort of turned a lot of people away because of that. And to be fair, the only thing that didn't apply to was our streamers, because I was never really much interested in that. We had someone that ran it, and we had streamers, and because I liked some of the people, but I weren't too worried about that. It was like, to me, it was a side thing. It wasn't part of the org. However, esports has massively changed then, and streamers and your content team now is almost as important. Sometimes it can be more, depending on who you got, than your teams. And we wanted to address that, but so we want to now sort of work with, by going to Boarddog Entertainment, it means that we can divert money to our entertainment side a bit easier. It also meant the people that was coming on weren't sort of coming on as part of something that I'd built. It was something that we was all going to build together.
Yeah.
And it also means we can take a chance with teams a bit more now. Like, I do enjoy the development side of things and giving people a chance. And you'll be surprised if you can't do it with everyone, but sometimes you sort of get a feeling when you're talking to potential players or potential teams, and you're like, you know what, like, these just need a break.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll be amazed at how well people perform. If you put a little bit of time and effort into them, they've probably been told no by about 50 other people. And when they finally get a yes, some of them rise to that. And they surprise you. And that's nice when you sit back, and sometimes you get nice messages from them saying, you know what I mean, thanks, I really appreciate this.
Yeah.
And you build friendships with them. That to me is what's more rewarding than anything else. And now we've gone to this, we sort of have that ability to. One of the teams that we're going to be announcing, Mike's literally starting off with someone that he knows. They're going to be a decent team, I'm sure. But we've got a coach and an analyst in for them. Like, don't get me wrong, they're not new to playing, but we're sort of building this team to give them a chance. You know what I mean? The people that we want to play together. We couldn't have done that before. I would literally have just said no, like, because they weren't in a league that I thought would have been worthy of Boarddog. You know what I mean? And then even down to the League of Legends, we play in the second division now. I probably wouldn't have had a team in the second division of anything. And I love being part of the UK EL. I probably enjoy it more than when we was in the UK LC, because there isn't the pressure.
Yeah.
We're not paying out £1,700-1,800 a month on players, you know what I mean? So now I can actually enjoy it, and that's sort of what it's about. We've changed our jersey suppliers to another company, like that Mike runs, and that. And like I said, our jersey is going to be lovely. Again, I probably wouldn't have done that before, because I wanted to be with the jersey suppliers that were seen as the best, and stuff like that. It's a sort of change of mindset to help people in the community. So I think certain elements of the community have got smaller over the last couple of years, and if people like us don't make an effort in trying to develop it and bring new people into it, eventually it's just going to fizzle out. And I don't want that to happen. I care too much about it for that to happen.
There you go, Space. That was the big change, and as I said earlier, you've definitely been living under a rock, my friend. From EB, what is your advice on someone who is currently running an org and looking to keep consistent in building a smaller org?
Stay true to yourself. You can't. The worst thing you can do is to look at others and try to imitate everything that they do to get somewhere. Take ideas from people or whatever. There's very few genuinely no ideas anymore. But don't be afraid to do something that you think will work just because other people don't do it. And don't be worried if something you do doesn't work straight away. Sometimes it takes a little while for an idea to develop and for you to see it through to fruition. You just got to do what you're passionate about, because otherwise what you'll do is you'll create an org and you'll spend 6 months doing what you think orgs should do, and then you'll get 6 months down the line, realize maybe you're not where you thought you would be, and you're now running something that you don't recognize, and it's not you, it doesn't have your stamp on it. The most important thing to an org, I think a lot of the time, is owners putting their unique sort of selling point, the unique selling point on it, because that's what makes you different. Otherwise, you just blend into everyone else, and that's boring. And there's enough people doing the standard thing that as a new org trying to come in and get into that, you're not going to get noticed. So try to do something different, try to do something a little bit wacky, and enjoy it.
Agreed. So you mentioned that, of course, this isn't an end goal for you, like the whole Boarddog gaming career thing. Like, you never set out to obviously have this as an end goal career for you. So what would yours be, doing what you do now?
Yeah, mate. So my idea is, I genuinely enjoy being in the army.
Yeah.
And I think I need that structure. I'm the sort of person that I need that. I need the rules that I can and can't do in my life. I'm a bit worried about what will happen. Luckily, by the time I get out, I'm almost 50. So I think hopefully I'd have got past the dickhead phase in my life. But otherwise, mate, I just go off the rails quite easily.
Yeah.
So I need that around me. But what I'm trying to do now with the eSports thing is hopefully we can get this to kick off, and in a couple of years there'll be a British Army eSports team, and I want to sort of be the head of that, so I can still spend probably the last 6-7 years of my career doing mainly just eSports, like they do with football teams in the army. If you play for army football, they call you a tracksuit soldier. You basically just play football, and I want to try to get it so eSports is like that. And then that will probably be my main job. So I'll still get to do eSports, which is obviously something I enjoy, but I'll get to do it in an army surrounding, which, like I said, I think I need. And then after that, mate, I don't know. I'm probably going to be a beach bum or something like that. Go and be a wrestler in Jamaica.
Get a bit of culture in the life, yeah?
Mate, I would, before, when I was younger, I always wanted to start my own weed farm or something like that. So I'm not even lying. I was sitting there earlier. I've been watching videos on Facebook, and I was thinking, how can I get it? If I start a petition now to try to get weed legalised, I wonder if by the time the army finishes, it would have gone through, so then I could finish the army and open a coffee shop or something.
Oh my God. Tony's coffee shop.
But that's the sort of thing I'd like to do. I mean, I can't work in an office, mate.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not that person, you know what I mean? Like, I'd go mad bouncing around the walls and all that. So I really, it sounds bad. Like, I'm fucking 40, you know what I mean? I sound like a 16-year-old kid in school. I don't know what to do in my future. But like, I still don't know what I want to do, mate, apart from I enjoy it in the army.
Sometimes it's all right not to know what you do. You just got to ride the wave.
Yeah, like, I'm doing all right as well. I promoted relatively well. Like, I've managed to find a sort of niche. Like, what I do for my job, because of where it is with the recruits, I'm probably one of the better ones in the whole of the Army Air Corps at doing what I do. Knowledge and experience-wise, like, especially around my rank. So I'm doing all right, you know what I mean? I'd be silly to sort of sack it in there, and plus the job security and stuff like that, especially in times like this. You can see now, mate, anything can happen tomorrow, you know what I mean? Like, literally people sitting at home now worrying about money and everything like that, and I feel for them, but I'm still on full pay, bro, and I've been sat at home for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not all bad, you know?
So you've mentioned a few tweets, and obviously you said earlier about the whole esports and army thing. How did you all plan to get that to happen? So how was that, like, how did you think up of this, and how did you take it further? Like, what was the conversation with that?
When I was an air trooper, which is the equivalent of a private, I was a CO's driver. So one person gets selected to be the CO's driver. The CO is the person that runs the regiment. And I got on really well with my CO. And it just so happens that he's literally just left the army. But he finished as being like the second highest person in my corps.
Yeah.
So he was like the corps colonel. And I was talking to him one day, and I just mentioned the esports stuff. I was wearing one of my esports jerseys to the gym, and he was asking what it was in that. And he went away and he looked into it. Then he came back up to me and he actually said, like, we need to get the army amongst this. He's like, I've looked into this. Like,
Wow.
the army's really bad at being late to things. He was like, we need to get in early. And he actually helped me push it through. It just took a little while because I had 6 months off when my boy was born.
Yeah.
Spent some time with him. So that sort of slowed it down a bit. But yeah, so it sort of come, like, it was amazing because I'd be having conversations with people that had higher rank than me. And they'd be going, I don't know if we can do this. And I'd just CC him into an email from Colonel Bryant, his name was, basically saying, if anyone says no, tell him to come and talk to him. And yes, you know what I mean? There was, like I said, there's one person more senior than him than the whole of my corps. So I sort of got it rubber stamped from the top.
That's crazy, man. That's so crazy. It just goes back to what you said, like, do something wacky with it to the person who asked about the esports starting out. Just do something wacky. A simple conversation can change anybody's mind and anybody's future. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
What was your reaction like when you come back and said that? Like, I've been looking into it and we need to do this.
I thought, mate, like, the thing is, I always got on really well with him, right? So, like, really, really well. I know I've met his wife, his kids and stuff like that, really well. And I thought he was just being polite, so I sort of chinned it off for a bit. And because the thing is, like, some people knew about the gaming and that in the army, but it's not sort of like people were like, what the fuck you doing, dickhead?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Playing games, shut up. So I just sort of promoted to sergeant then. So I was in, you have a sergeant and warrant officers mess. So they're all people that are more senior than me and been in longer. And a lot of it's the older people are, the less they get. So I thought, right, I'm going to go in there as a new sergeant and I'm going to have all these people going, you want X amount of money coming out of our sports budget to go and play computer games, you know what I mean? And that was it for some of the people.
Yeah.
So I sort of just ignored it. Then we had a Christmas do and he was invited. And he grabbed me at the Christmas do with the Corps Sergeant Major. And he was like, right, Newts, if anyone's, he was going away to have an operation. And he was like, right, if anyone says anything, you're to go to him, who's the most senior non-commissioned officer in the whole of my corps. He will get rid of any of the problems, you know what I mean? And it was then that I knew that he was serious about it.
Yeah.
So like I said, I had the 6 months off, which coincided with him, his operation. And when we come back, I sort of pushed it on. So it was cool. But like the thing is, the army's like proper big on it. It ain't just us. So he was at a meeting in London, speaking to some people, and they estimated there was like 10,000 gamers in the army. And they want to do stuff for him. It's why a lot of the recruitment ads were looking for gamers and stuff like that, because there's so many different career paths in the army and so many things. It's not just all infantry soldiers running around and doing stuff like that. There's UAV, people that fly UAVs, Apache pilots.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the Apache pilots play games because your hand-eye coordination and your ability to be able to think of three or four things while not having to look down at the controls helps with jobs like that. So they do generally want people like this. So rather than just sort of recruit them and then you get here and there's nothing for you, it's going to be a case of you get recruited, you come along, we're going to be doing exactly what you're passionate about. And like I said, you could literally, if we get to that point, like the football team, you're almost just getting paid decent money to play games all the time. And do a little bit of PT every now and then, you know what I mean? But the rest of the time we'll just be practicing for events.
Yeah. Going back to what you said then, that's quite interesting. So obviously, like as you said, being an Apache pilot, you can just do the controls. You focus on three.
I mean, I'm not Apache pilot.
No,
but
yeah,
Apache
like
pilot,
what you said, like
yeah.
They can focus on 3 to 4 other things. Do you think if you reverse that in a very weird concept way, I'm probably shooting a major weird shot here. Do you think that getting people into games in the army can help develop their skills doing that?
I think some people are just not going to like games.
Yeah.
So there's some people in the army that are just like, they just want to go running, mate. You know what I mean? They don't like, they couldn't think of anything worse than sitting behind a desk for a few hours staring at a screen. Like it'd literally drive them mental, just as much as me having to go running for hours drives me mental. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, it is only for certain jobs that it probably, that certain skill set only probably helps for certain jobs, not all the jobs. But I know a lot of the, like I said, a lot of the Apache pilots actually game at home. Like it's weird. So where I actually work, they're really supportive of it as well, because my OC gets it and a few of the other players all games. So we talk about it constantly in my ops room. We've had like our PlayStation plugged into the to the big monitor and all that. Like, so I think the good thing about the army is there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
Like that, you may not find it straight away and might have to transfer to another cat badge or something, but there is actually something for everyone. Like all yours, you're taught as a sort of senior manager there to get the best out of your guys. You know what I mean? Everyone has something that they can bring to the table, and a good manager will find that. You know what I mean? There is no bad soldiers, there's just bad managers, mate. And I'm hoping that gaming, like bringing esports into it, gives the younger lads that are coming through a chance to sort of feel part of something. Because not all of them are going to want to play football. Not all of them are going to have a desire to play rugby or skiing and that. Like the army's really big on winter sports and all that. We've got people that have been to the Olympics and stuff like that. But it's also giving other people an avenue to enjoy themselves and to excel at something. And it's all part of retention as well. If you feel appreciated by the place where you work, you're sort of more likely to not want to sign off and go and do something else.
Agreed.
Like there's a guy, Cal, who's in there. He's a sandbag, as he said. So he's in the infantry. And he games in that all the time, you know what I mean? And like I said, my big plan in the end is to have an overall army esports team where I can pick these people up from different regiments and different corps, and I can say, right, you play for the army esports team, you come to where we are, we'll have a base, we'll have everything set up, and we can practice for God knows how long, and then they just go out and do little bits every now and then. Because I know Cal was talking about trying to set it up at his place, but his regiment isn't as on side as my place is, so they're just like, jog on, dickhead, you're not playing games, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get out there and run at people shooting at you.
Tony, if there's anything you could change in the esports at amateur level, what would it be?
People being more honest. I think there's a lot of backstabbing, two-faced owners and players, and I just think it's a bit crap. Like, people ain't very often honest about everything that's happening and the state of their orgs. Everyone's always trying to front, and I know what they're trying to do, fake it until you make it and all that, but when you've been around for ages, you can sort of see through stuff. And I just think if everyone was just more honest and open, there'd be less arguments. This fake competitiveness of trying to be better than this person and that person, people saying who's your favourite, like it's just not needed at this level. This level is just for fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong. This is the thing as well. There's nothing wrong with being an amateur at anything. It just means you're passionate about something that you do, and you give your time to do it, and you don't get paid to do it. There's never, like, it's what I always used to say to some of my teams, like, there's nothing, don't ever be ashamed about being an amateur or anything. There's amateur boxers that box at the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, being an amateur isn't a bad thing. The word amateur isn't a dirty word. I just think that a lot of people pretend they're more than what they are. And it's just a shame, because I think everyone would get on a bit better if we weren't always trying to burn each other's asses down, you know what I mean? And we were just happy with where we were and was honest with each other.
Agreed. Seems to be what you see a lot of these days, though, like just arguments or petty stuff. We did it first, you didn't do it, blah, blah, blah.
Mate, it's even like, if you go back to Legion, right? But the reason they fucked up is because he was trying to be something he wasn't.
Yeah.
So he was making all these promises and he wasn't being honest with people. And then he's like, well, if I get this, and he gets that. And people have this fake idea that if they become an overnight success, companies are going to throw money at them. It doesn't work like that. The majority of the companies that give monies to orgs are because they know people, like, and they're friends with people, and they drink at events with those people, and they see them outside of that. So then their companies are helping. Like, that's the way of a lot of it works. And you could have a success. Like, look at the orgs that have sent teams to COD Champs, for example, and never picked up another sponsorship from it. Or they might work with Scuff, and get a code, but that's about it. And you can't run your org off that. But people still think that doing that and promising this stuff to players and getting this amazing team is going to get them all this income, and it isn't. Like, and it doesn't. And then you end up with legions, and I think U4X has done it a couple of times, not pay people and stuff like that, and vanished and come back, and many others have, and it's just taking advantage of people. And that's one of the things I don't like. You know what I mean?
Just a complete lack of honesty, to be fair.
Yeah, and respect for people, mate. Like, there's no need to do that. Like, people, players and teams put a lot of
Hmm.
sort of
All in the same business and boat.
yeah, mate. And like the thing is as well, if you can't, if a team comes to you and you can't afford to give them what they're asking for, as long as you sit down and talk them to it and explain, a lot of the time they understand and they might drop what they're asking for. You can come to an arrangement and you can meet what they've requested.
Yeah.
If you just say, yeah, we can do that, knowing full well you can't do it, and then letting them down at the last minute. Like Lewis and that, when I was like talking to them when I was in London, they didn't even know where they were going to stay at one point because he'd fucked them over. My boy Lenny, you know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah.
people I genuinely care about that he fucked over, and they weren't sure what they was going to be doing, and people stepped up and helped them. But it shouldn't have to be that.
Hmm.
Like I said, if people could just accept where they are and stop fronting all the time, and just be like, you know what, we're an Amwalk, we've got fuck all money. I'll try to help you out in my own pocket. It's down to you. You know what I mean? Say
Yeah.
to them, look, at the end of the day, lads, basically all you're going to be doing at the event is wearing my jersey. You're not going to place that well. We all know that. If we're realistic, if someone come up to you at an event and said, "Look, mate, there's 70 quid. Put that jersey on and let me take some photos of you," you'd take it because I
Yeah.
fucking would. Someone would even wear a shirt at an event for 70 quid. Right. So when you're asking me for £1,000, £2,000, £3,000, where am I getting value in the rest of this? You know what I mean? And get teams to break down. Right, okay, you want £3,000. Tell me how I'm getting value for this £3,000. Just as you would if you went into a shop and someone was overcharging you for something, you wouldn't just pay it, would you?
No.
You'd ask them, right, okay, why is it this much? You'd question it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And sometimes if you sit with a team and you're honest with them and try to show them the other things that you can bring to them, you can work deals out and you don't need to knock them. You know what I mean? And leave them in a shit state.
Agreed. Guys in the chat, make sure you get your last questions in now as we will start to wrap this podcast up. So if you do have any final questions, please put them forth now. So yeah, I mean, for you, I suppose that's why the change was needed as well.
Yeah, it's just I want to help more people.
Hmm.
Like, I think having a boy has softened me up a bit as well, mate. Like, I'm not even lying. Like, I just want to be nicer to people.
Yeah.
I still get annoyed, but in general, I want to be nicer and I want to help people. And if I can help people, I will help people. Before, there's been times when I could have helped people and I've looked at them and I thought, you know what, you're a bit of a dick, and I'm just not. But now I try to see there could be a reason behind why they're a bit of a dick, and maybe I can reach out and find out. It might be a story that I don't know, and that's why I've seen them like that time, and so I've tried to sort of be more grown and a sort of better person, and it's 100% down to my boy, mate. Like, he's proper softened me up. It's unreal.
How old is your boy now?
He's 17 months old, coming up to 18 months, mate. So. But he's a lump, mate. Like, he's just got a bed. It's what I said to you in it, so I was late a little bit. No, it weren't really late. Because like I had to say goodnight to him. You know what I mean? When we went to the last London event, I was there and I was drinking with people, and I was like, "This is proper mad. Like, this is normally where I enjoy myself, but I just wanted to go home and see him. Like, I genuinely missed him.
Yeah.
I've never missed no one like that in my life. Like, and like I've never loved anyone like I love him, mate. Honestly, he's made me a better, but genuinely, I'm a much nicer person now. I think I hate people less.
The speculation's still out.
Yeah, because you never know, mate. Like, I still do have my moments where I'm fucking fuming, but they're fewer. There's definitely fewer moments.
We'll take this final question from the chat from Twitch Kaizen. Is there an end goal for Boarddog? If so, what is it?
God knows.
There's your end goal. God knows.
I'd like us to be right. So I want us to be self-sustainable, right? For the people that have doing this with me, you know what I mean? I want it so we don't need to put a penny in, and Boarddog can still run with the same principles and still be doing stuff that we're proud of and helping people. If we got Boarddog to that stage, I'd be well chuffed. But I mean, I hope so. We've got some other things, like, I have to be careful because last time I said stuff that I weren't meant to say. So I am being careful this time because I got messages, news. But there is some other stuff, and we've hopefully got something that Mike's trying to sort out. That'd be quite cool if we can get it, and we might be able to help other people with it as well. So there is some stuff, like I said, it hasn't happened as quickly, but it genuinely is. I'm not just saying it, I'm not one of those guys to say, we're working on stuff in the background. There genuinely is stuff. That if it happens would be quite cool. But yeah, to be self-sustainable and still be able to stay true to ourselves, I wouldn't want to have to sell out to do it. I might, you know what I mean? If there's any sugar daddies out there that want to chuck us a load of money, like, I might sell out. But it'd have to be a substantial amount of money for me to sell out and not keep true to our vision of trying to help people and help the community grow.
Awesome, man. As always, it's been a fantastic chat with you, sir.
Cheers, mate.
However, I require your brain once more and a final time. So the new way, guys, I like to end this podcast is also asking the guest on this very specific question. So regarding anything in the world, not esports related, just from you and your mind, just throw a piece of advice out there in the world to the
Don't eat yellow snow. Nah, I think, honestly, it's just to be nice to people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that sounds so cliche, especially from when, like, I'm known for offering people out at events when I was a bit of an idiot and stuff like that. Like, so coming from me saying just be nice to people is a bit strange, but try to, like I said earlier, try to understand, because you never know what other people are going through. And like I said, there's been a couple of people around Boarddog lately that have been going through stuff that I've been trying to help, and other people have, and that as well. And people will know it from the outside, and I know how much stuff can affect people, and try to sometimes give people the benefit of that, because they could be going through mad shit, you know what I mean? And something that's trivial, you could just put that little bit too much onto their back, and it can be a massive thing for them. At the same time, if someone's a fucking bellend, tell them. But like, try to step back, and sometimes it's because of what you've done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could be how you've come across, and you just not realised it. So yeah, just try to be nice. What is it Maya Angelou says? Be the sun, be the rainbow in someone's cloud. 1 second, this is my thing. Right, so there's a lady called Dr. Maya Angelou.
Mm-hmm.
She's dead now. But she was like proper smart and everything. She basically, like, they had a university that just paid for her to live there and just to teach and just to talk. She was a poet and stuff like that. She came through during the civil rights movement. She knew Martin Luther, Dr. King and stuff like that. But yeah, so to be the rainbow in someone's cloud, that'd be the thing. Because that basically sums up everything I was saying. Like, if someone's having a shit day, try to cheer them up. Done.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Of course, guys, before we wrap it up, a quick message from me, as we've got a few viewers in here, so any little bit goes a far way. Obviously, with the current situation where everybody is in the world, coronavirus, I urge you, please just stay indoors. Like, don't go socialising with your friends. Don't think you can go pick them up and go on drives or whatever. Just please stay at home. There's people out there with families that actually work for the frontline, NHS, etc. That can be someone's sister, their lover, partner, whatever. Like, it don't matter. So please don't be a dick. Stay at home, do the right thing, and obviously at the end of it, go do what you want. But for now, please be considerate to people with families, members, people, you know, losing sleep at night, struggling, thinking about their loved ones that are risking their lives. So do every little bit you can to help. And if you are a key worker and you're in this chat, thank you for everything you do and for your services. It's highly appreciated. But of course, guys, that will wrap up this week's Life of an Amateur with Boarddog News. Once again, thank you for coming on, bro. It's always good to talk to you, man.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me.
And if anybody's feeling down, go clip his word of advice. And no, it's not the yellow snow bit. The good rainbow bit. But of course, as always, it's been a fantastic episode. We'll see you guys next week, I'm pretty sure, for another episode. But for now, stay tuned on the EG Twitter. This episode will be going live on YouTube, so if you are just tuning in and you have missed this episode, you can catch it up back on the YouTube. Just scroll down to the panels down below, find their Twitter, and of course you can see all what EG is about and what else they have planned and coming as well. But for now, guys, that's going to be us, and good night.